Chapter 6. Now, you've probably read about giants in fairy tales, and you've probably seen giants in comic books and cartoons, but you haven't really experienced giants until you've met one up close. And once you've done that, believe me, you will be perfectly happy never ever meeting another one. I knew giants were big. I had no idea they were so disgusting. We stood on one side of the castle moat with King Arthur, Merlin, and the Knights of the Round Table. Leon stood on the other. He was a terrifying sight, an even more terrifying smell. He towered at least 20 feet, wore no clothes except 2 bloody ox hides tied around his waist, and hid the largest and ugliest face I had ever seen behind a crazy mess of hair, rotten bits of meat and bone, tree branches, giant drool, and cow manure blew a cloud of flies around his beard. If the sight of Leon wasn't enough to make you cry, the smell of him definitely was. For the first time in my life, I was speechless and a bit dizzy. Make haste with the magic, said Merlin. The foul air doth dull the senses. Sam nudged me and handed me a little stick. He had split halfway down the middle. He and Fred had already clamped their noses with Sam's homemade clothespins. I quickly did the same. "He does, dimmish giant," I said, talking through my plugged nose. "How can we help you?" So, you know what he answered? Of course you don't, because you weren't there. Well, I'll tell you the truth. He belched. A long, loud, wet, noisy, and totally disgusting burp. Sir Prevalent and 3 knights close to him raised their shields. They were too late, and took the full force of the awful blast. All 4 fainted dead away. "Give Leon's wee fair maid damsels to eat now, or Leon smash castle," said you-know-who. And I almost hate to tell you what he did next. Let's just say when he snorted, he knocked down 2 more knights with one blow. And he didn't use a Kleenex. Merlin gave us the hurry up eye. I figured there was no way to stop the monster and was just about to yell, "Every man for himself!" and run when Sam stepped forward. "Now, just a minute, Mr. Leon," said Sam, adjusting his glasses. "You can't just go around treating the knights on the round table like that." He pointed to a pile of knights covered in green slime. "We are 3 very powerful magicians who could wipe the floor with you if we wanted, but we're in a good mood today, so we've decided to give you a chance to have your wish come true. Right, fellow magicians?" Fred and I looked at each other, and then back at Sam. We didn't have the faintest idea what he was talking about. Leon just looked confused as we were. "Right," we said. "Since you fairy tale giants are always asking people riddles, we've decided to give you a chance to save your miserable skin by answering our riddle. If you answer the riddle, you can eat your fill of fair damsels. If you can't answer the riddle, you leave and never return. Okay? Leon answered in a way too rude to describe. We grabbed our stick clothespins and ducked. 10 brave knights fell like bowling pin victims of gas warfare. I'll take that to mean yes, said Sam. So, for all the marbles, why did the giant wear red suspenders? Why did the giant wear red suspenders? Leon repeated slowly to himself. He raised an arm to scratch his head, and unleashed a storm of flies and a poisoned whirlwind of armpit odor that struck down another 5 knights. Because red was Giant's favorite color. Bzzz, wrong, said Sam. He wore red suspenders to hold his pants up. You lose. Goodbye. Leon shook his head and scratched it again. Two fish heads and a rotten apple core fell out. Everyone held their breath. Leon turned to go. Fred and I slapped Sam on the back. We were about to go Raz Merlin when we heard the awful sound. It was another bone-rattling, teeth-chattering burp. Duh! Wait a minute! You tricked Leon! Giants don't wear suspenders! The angry giant turned and stomped back towards us. Even the trees shook. Leon not like little people that trick him. Leon crushes little people that trick him. Leon stepped over the moat like a puddle. He raised one foot, which I won't even describe because it would spoil your appetite for a week to crush us all. Chapter 7. We all ran for the castle, all of us except Sam. Sir Sam the Unusual stood there with his arms folded across his chest, not moving an inch. Run for it, Sam! Yelled Fred. A huge sturdy foot started coming down. He's finally lost his mind! I said, all those bad jokes and riddles finally ate his brain. Sam checked his fingernails and said, well, I guess the dragon was right. I should have believed him when he told me about giants. The monster foot stopped in midair. One black and muddy big toe just inches from Sam's head. What dragons say about giants? Oh, it really wasn't very nice. I don't think I should repeat it. Leon stepped back and got down on his hands and knees. Tell Leon what dragons say about giants. Sam leaned forward and spoke in a loud whisper. Don't tell him. Don't tell I told you, but he said giants are big weaklings. No. Yes. And he said giants are really just big giant sissies who can only smash little tiny things like people. No. I'm not kidding. He said if you ever fought someone your own size, like a dragon, you would get your butt kicked. No! Roared Leon one more time. And then he picked up 2 boulders, each as big as a car, and grounded them into gravel with his bare hands. "Giant stronger than anything! Crush dragons like that, too!" Sam winked at us and jerked his head toward the other side of the castle. "Why is he twitching?" asked Fred. "Show Bleon dragon! Bleon show how to giant fight!" "Show you a dragon, huh?" said Sam, jerking his head again. Then I got what Sam wanted us to do. "The dragon, Sir Sam!" I yelled. "The dragon is approaching from the west!" Leon stood up, scratched his head, and burped. He didn't seem to know quite what to do. Well, what do you... "Well, what do you know?" said Sam. "This must be your lucky day. There's a dragon right on the other side of the castle. Here's your chance to show a dragon what a giant can do." Sam's idea slunk slowly into Bleon's thick skull. "That good idea, little man." Bleon showed dragon what giant can do. He charged off around the corner of the castle, knocking 3 trees and 2 huts flat, and shaking the ground for 5 miles in every direction. Everyone still standing followed Bleon, not too closely, around the castle, just in time to see Schmod the dragon gliding in for a landing. He was truly a terrible sight. Big, ugly green head, trailing wisps of smoke, shimmering metal scales, huge feathered wings, coiling snake body, and iron claws. Fred gasped. "They are for real." As Schmod touched down, Bleon smashed into him. "Sissy!" he belched. And then he clamped his yellow teeth right on the dragon's snout. Schmod dug his iron claws into Bleon's leg and thrashed his spiked trail. The 2 of them twisted up a loud clod of broken trees and flying earth that we couldn't see a thing. We did hear how it happened, though. Bleon belched, Schmod flamed, and when giant gas met dragon flame, a bigger explosion than 4 4th of Julys knocked us off our feet and rocked the entire kingdom. "Huzzah!" said King Arthur and his sitting knights. "What did they say?" asked Sam with a smile. "Oh, that's hooray, Sir Sam! Nice magic work!" We ducked under the castle arch and dodged the pieces of fried giant and dragon meat raining down. "Thou hast saved Camelot and the honor of the Round Table," said King Arthur. "Ask anything in my power, and it is yours." A giant toenail fell down with a thud. "How about getting us home?" said Sam. The last few small pieces splattered down outside in a gentle rain. Fred and I nodded, wondering if we would ever see home again. Sweet, normal, peaceful home. Chapter 8. "Keep your eye on the ball!" Fred yelled. Fred. "Choke up a little. Follow through. Meet the ball. Don't try to kill it. Just meet the ball. Ready?" The stable boy looked completely confused, but he nodded yes and gripped Fred's oak stick in a pretty good imitation of a batting stance. Fred stood on a mound at the bottom of a tall, dark stone tower connected to the castle wall. "Okay, here's the pitch." Fred lobbed a homemade baseball gently toward home plate. The stable boy swung as hard as he could and missed by a mile. I caught the ball and Sam yelled, "Strike 3! You're out!" All the boys cheered and began racing around the bases, yelling. One home run, Babe Ruth, Detroit Tigers, Bo Nose. Fred walked off the mound and met us at home plate. "Do you think I explained enough?" "Methinks maybe you explained too much, Sir Fred," said Sam. The guys kept circling the bases, jumping and yelling as they crossed home plate. "Full count! I did infield fly! Suicide squeeze!" "Oh, man," said Fred. "This is never going to work. We have to get out of here. This is like the Stone Age. Those guys at the banquet last night had never even heard of TV." "Gosh, what a surprise," I said, "considering that TV won't be invented for another 1,000 years or so." 1,000 years? I can't live without TV for 1,000 years, said Fred. "And did you get a whiff of those people at the banquet?" said Sam. "I don't think the shower's been invented yet either." "I don't know," I said. "I think the smell might have been coming from the food." The stable boy slowed down and sat on the grass around us. "Ninth inning, ball 4, kill the ump." "That's it, guys, game over," said Fred. Sam looked at the castle walls around us. No TV, no cheeseburgers. We're 3 20th century guys time warped into the Middle Ages. Score squires of the Round Table 28. Time warp trio 0. "Hey, nice names," I said. "Remind me to remember it if we ever get out of here alive." "Speaking of which," said Fred, "how do we get out of here?" I tossed our leather ball up and down. "If somebody had let me read my magic book, I might know." "Oh, magic book, schmagic book," said Fred. "I barely touched your stupid book. And don't tell me we got here by magic. That only happens in dorky books." Sam looked around again. The stable boys looked around with him. "But if we did get here by magic, wouldn't we get back home the same way?" "Exactly," I said. "So all we have to do is find someone who knows magic." We looked at all the guys sitting around us. None looked particularly magical. "Aw, forget that magic jazz," said Fred. "King Arthur said he'll make us Knights of the Round Table tonight. Let's do something useful while the sun is still up. Joe, you peep. Joe, you pitch. I'll hit. And tomorrow we'll explain how TV works." Sam rolled his eyes.